To write a theory, we need some facts, some reality, some data from the ground, what's happening in the ground. Otherwise, this is like what most of the researchers think, that theory doesn't relate to reality. I think it relates, like theory is not separated, like we need some facts, some reality to write a theory. So my point, we can't separate, like theory is different than practice, reasoning and intellectual is different than practice. We need, like theory and thinking process needs facts, practice, data to feed our process, our reasoning.
Why did scientific research begin? Why did they even get a question about what the world is and what is this, what is that? I want to explore it further. When you look at something and when you question it, and when you explore into it, dissect it, and find something more about it, it only means that whatever you are having now, it does not feel adequate. You want something more. That's what you're going after, basically. You're going after something more. Now, human beings looked around. They had some direct experience of the world, but it felt inadequate. They wanted something more. And because of that, these questions came up in them. What is this world about? How is this functioning? And so many questions. They questioned, their reasoning ability stood up. It became more and more sharpened as centuries passed by. And they understood the patterns in which nature functions or human beings function. They started observing, they started understanding, appreciating the patterns in which things function. They started understanding how things are functioning. And they formulated those things as laws, maybe physics or chemistry or whatever field it is. They saw that there are certain patterns, and those things they called as law. They went on exploring like this, scientific exploration they went on doing. But do you see what happened? The quest, the pursuit began with a certain direct experience. I am having certain direct experience of life. And that direct experience, even if it was a direct experience, it felt inadequate. And therefore, I wanted something more. What could be that more that I'm seeking? See, I have started with experience, direct experience. Do you think I can settle for explanation? You start something with direct experience. For that, I gave the analogy in that video of somebody going to a hotel. They have eaten, drank soup, they have eaten the starters, and now they are going on reading the menu. And when the waiter comes and asks, they don't order the main menu, main course. And finally, the waiter asks, are you going to order or not? And this fellow the fellow says, I have already spent enough on your hotel. I don't have any more money. So I just want to have my money's worth. Therefore, I am learning your menu. I am getting to learn about so many new vegetables and whatever you have in your menu. So at least let me leave here knowledgeable, if not with my stomach filled. He started with eating something. He ate something. He had starters, he had soup. And the rest of it he's trying to compensate with menu, description of the food and name of the vegetable. This is exactly what has happened with scientific pursuit. Human beings looked around and they felt inadequate with the direct experience. And because of that, when they started their scientific pursuit, finally it just took them into a world of explanation. These explanations cannot substitute what you're actually seeking. What you're actually seeking can only be a more intimate experience. Can explanation substitute experience? See, I'm having a certain direct experience. Nobody can deny that. I have a certain direct experience. Nobody can deny that. Nobody can take it away. I can see, hear so many things. But still, that itself felt inadequate. And I wanted something more. And that more can only be a more direct experience. Even I don't know what that is. But I only know that this does not feel adequate. This doesn't feel adequate. I want something more. And that more can only be experience, I'm saying. It can't be an explanation. It can't be a theory. Now, I'm not telling scientific pursuit is useless. What scientific pursuit did is something else. Science did not even guarantee, did not even tell you that I will deepen your experience. I am telling we confused it. I'm telling human beings confused it. Or they lost track or they forgot. I don't know what. But why they started pursuing is that they felt their experience of life was not adequate for them. They wanted a more deeper experience. And that is why they went on doing it. Not only science, many things, whatever it is. So it's not that science, there is somewhere it has been told in science that science will deepen your experience. No, science doesn't claim it. And the only thing I'm pointing out is somewhere human beings even forgot what they were seeking. That's all I'm saying. They went after scientific pursuit, and what scientific pursuit did, it gave explanations as to how things are happening. It gave explanations for why, how your brain is functioning, how that is happening, how this is happening. It gave explanations for how things are happening. It never answered what it is. Should I go into this? It's a very complex problem. See, if you take when you take a dog or a small baby where there is no thinking process evolved, when a dog wants to know what something is, first of all, before going, do you see that even in animals, even in small babies where the intellect has not yet grown, even in them this question mark is seen? They will wonder when they see something new, they wonder about it. You can see the question mark on their face. Mm-hmm. The question mark means what is it? If you put it literally. The actual question that we had was what is it? What is it all about? What am I? What is this word? The main question was what, not how. Actually, how is also a very interesting question. But I am pointing out that all that science did is resolve how. It laid out patterns. It gave you patterns. This is the pattern in which things are happening. And that pattern gives you an understanding. And the pattern gives you the ability to predict. If you do this, that will happen. That is a law. It gives you the ability to predict. So what science mainly did was it answered the how question. And it gave us a lot of freedom, lot of power over many things. We could engineer them the way we want them. For our convenience, we have done a lot of things, and all of it has come from the how question. Scientific, when you say laws of science, it only means the how question, not what. They also want to address the what question, but anyway, I'll come to it later. First, now coming to the dog and the baby. Now, this what question is the most fundamental question in a living being. Even in a dog or a cat or a small baby, you can see when they look at something new, they will freeze and they will pay absolute attention to it because they're like, what is this? Yes. Actually, from my childhood, my babyhood, infancy, I remember I have some memories of my infancy. I was, must have been 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 months old. I was lying in the cradle. I couldn't even roll that time, I think. But I remember looking at that fan which they had put in that cradle to amuse me. That's some toy fan they put on the baby's thing. I was so intently going on staring at it. There are no words. There is no language. There is nothing. But there is something in front of me and I'm going on paying attention to it. Absolute attention. I'm telling this. In babies also you can see this. They have this question on their face as to what is this? So what do babies do or what do dogs do when they get this question? When a dog gets a question, something comes in front of the dog, some new fellow or some new object, whatever comes in front of the dog, what does the dog first do to find out what it is?
Smell.
It will go and smell it. Means it wants some direct experience. It is looking at it. Looking is not sufficient. I want to enhance it. I want a little more direct experience. Because the nose is more sharp with the dog, it will try to use its nose to get to know it more directly. What does the baby do? When you give a new object to the baby, what does the baby do?
Touch it.
Huh?
Touch it.
What? Yeah, it will put it into the mouth. The baby will put that thing in its mouth. It won't know what, it may be even poison. But I want to know it. So the only way I know it more is by eating it. I want to have some more direct experience. Only then the what questions will go. Even a baby knows that. Even a dog knows that. When you ask what something is, the only way a what question can go away, quenched, is only by enhancing your experience of it. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Now, what science is doing is one another part of it. It is the how question, which means it is keeping you in the same, whatever plane of experience you presently are, it is only doing combinations, permutations, and getting theories about it. It is not really enhancing your experience. So if you come to this question of what something is, the only way of addressing it is by enhancing your perceptivity. There is no other way to it. Outside, you can do a lot of things. See, whatever you do on the outside, finally, you will only perceive whatever you are capable of perceiving, isn't it? If I change the object outside, does it change your perceptivity? Your perceptivity is still the same. You can do combinations, permutations outside and come up with a new kind of object, which makes you feel that something new is happening. But it is not something new. It is still in the same plane of experience. Your perceptivity is still the same. Whatever you do outside will not enhance your perceptivity. Whatever you experience will remain the same. So the only way you can enhance your perceptivity is by doing some tweaking within you, not by doing something with the object outside. That will never enhance your experience. It will only give you an understanding of how it is working, how things are happening, and it may give you power over it. You can use it for your convenience and a lot of things, whatever we have done with the outside world. But it will not really enhance your experience. Science can solve everything only in the how realm. It can't solve your what question. And it is not only my personal opinion that I am giving. If you go into scientific literature, that's what it is. As they went on exploring as to what it is, finally it will come to a dead end. You can't proceed further. It will all get a little boring. I'm not going to that. But just know this, that even in scientific pursuit, if you try to objectively resolve what questions, you still have a what question. What is stone? What is this atom? What is that? What is this? You still have a question. If you try to go by the objective way, the what questions will not get resolved. Instead of that, your pursuit will come to a dead end. And it has been expressed in many ways by many prominent scientists, many philosophers. Some scientists have even come to say that the job of science is only to answer the how question. Don't ask the what questions. That is not science. Some scientists even openly say that, because they realize that it won't go anywhere. It won't lead them to a proper closure. So, when it comes to addressing the what question, when it comes to enhancing the clarity of perception, theory has no role. Intellectual clarity has no role. In understanding the how part of the world, they go hand in hand. You will get more data about the facts. Based on that, you will do theory. Theory will be experimented. More facts like this. they will go hand in hand. When you address the how questions, they will go hand in hand. It is fine as long as you are playing in the same playing field of experience. You are in a certain playing field of experience. You want to remain there and you play there, you can do this. They're interdependent. You can play eternally with these two things going hand in hand, theory and practice, theory and practical. When it comes to the more fundamental question as to why did even scientific pursuit begin? Why did even human beings raise questions about things around them? That is because they were wanting to experience it more deeply. They were not wanting to explain it. How can something start with direct experience? Direct experience feels inadequate, and then that inadequacy will go with an explanation. How is it even possible? Logically not possible. Yes? What can quench you actually can only be a more direct experience. No matter how much you explain, it won't go. Even a dog knows that. Even a baby knows that. It is only the adult that has forgotten. because these explorations on the how part are so mesmerizing, are so attractive and interesting that it gives you a sense of great achievement, and you feel something great has been done, and this is what I was looking for. It's like when a baby is crying for something, and if you give the baby a candy, the baby will forget what it was actually crying for, temporarily at least. So that is what has happened with the scientific pursuit. Human beings were actually dissatisfied with their experience, with their level of experience. They wanted more intimate experience of life. They wanted more live contact. But all these explanations and the theories, understanding of how world is functioning came as a candy. And now that candy has gone way too ahead with all this technological development. It is because of the technological development we are able to do this online discussion. I'm aware of that. But I know this will not give me fulfillment. This webcam, this Zoom meeting, and all these things, it can't take me to a new plane of experience. It will only enhance my convenience. How questions and what questions are two different kinds of questions. When you ask the how question, you can approach in a certain way. You can use thought process will have a very significant role there, because you are working with what you have already experienced, what is already in your plane of experience. Now, this approach will not work with the what question, because here you are trying to enhance your level of experience itself. Here, the only approach is that thought has to receive so that you can see it better. I made a statement in the beginning saying there are a variety of reasons as to why we have vested the highest priority to thought process, and we are trying to see the world through thought process. I said there are a lot of reasons behind it. What Malaka just pointed out is actually one of why there is a lot of importance given to intellectual clarity. There are many reasons in the sense, many mix-ups like this. In scientific way you put it, it's a mix-up between the how questions and the what questions. And the mix-up is happening in very, very simpler ways also. You may not be a very science geek, or you may not be doing any science, but your basic understanding of the world is like that. Objectively, that is how you are functioning. When you want to learn something, what do? You want to learn some music instrument. What do? You take the instrument and you go on playing it repeatedly. Yes, you're developing muscle memory of memory patterns in your psychology. You're trying to do something repeatedly again and again, let's say a flute. You're going on doing it again and again and again, and finally it gives you some mastery, and finally you become an expert in playing flute or learning anything for that matter. When you learn anything, repetition is the mechanism that we know of, that we have to go on doing it again and again and again, and then whatever expertise we've thought of will become a reality. And because looking at this, we have unconsciously applied the same thing to spirituality. We think we can go on repeatedly doing something with our thoughts, and some magic will happen because of it. Are you following this?
Yeah.
I'm talking of some of the confusion, why the confusion happens. So this hidden conclusion will be there in you. Even if you go to a spiritual discourse, you may not, this may be the first time you're going to a spiritual discourse, but you will try to apply this approach there. You will say, I'm trying to learn something. I will learn, I will think about it, I will learn, I will think of it again and again, and it will become a personal reality for me. Clarity of thought I will get, I will go on thinking, then it will become personal reality for me. You implicitly, this assumption is there in you. Learning is again just one of the ways in which confusion can happen. It can happen in other simpler ways also, because that is how we function in the world. Whatever we do in the world, it goes by that mechanism. You have to plan things, do things, execute them, repeat them, exert it again and again. So this approach we are employing with all our worldly pursuits, basically. We are in a certain plane of experience, and whatever we want to do in that plane of experience, this approach will work. If you want to enhance your experience itself, it won't work. So that is why, if you go by this attitude of learning something or practicing something or getting clarity of thought and then we are getting clarity of perception, this is a very fundamental assumption. This has to be challenged. If it doesn't, no matter where you go, you will try to do the same thing. It will not lead to shattering of any conclusions. Instead, you will be making more theories, thinking these theories will one day help me, and one day never comes. So you will only have theories.